Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this opportunity, we are going to present a material about the management classroom. Before that, I will introduce our member group. My name is Ayu Francisca as a moderator and as the first presenter, and Cecilia as the second presenter. Next is Desti Arianti as the third presenter, and the last is Dwi Nurpajrisya Putra as the fourth presenter. Okay, for the first material will be explained by me. What is a management classroom? Management classroom are activities that are pursued by a teacher to create a conducive classroom situation to achieve maximum learning objectives. It means that whatever happens in the class, it is a teacher's responsibility to control the class well and also make a comfortable learning atmosphere so that students can achieve the target goals of the teacher before the lesson begins. Next, the physical environment of the classroom. The first point is sight, sound, and comfort. Students are indeed profoundly affected by what they see, hear, and feel when they enter the classroom. If you have any power to control the following, then it will be worth your time to make your classroom as physically comfortable. Seperti ruangan kelas yang rapi dan bersih akan membuat siswa nyaman untuk belajar di dalam kelas, dan ruangan kelas yang jauh dari kebisingan eksternal, juga ruangan kelas yang enak dipandang seperti adanya hiasan-hiasan di dalam kelas. The second point are seating arrangement. Banyak sekali model-model pengaturan tempat duduk di mana kelas agar terlihat rapi, seperti bentuk U atau setengah lingkaran, atau bisa diatur dengan duduk berkelompok, misalnya 2 meja, 4 siswa. Pilihan penempatan kursi ini dipastikan agar siswa tetap akan mengarah pada guru agar mereka fokus pada keadaan di dalam kelas. This is often wrong because the teacher likes to arrange where students sit. The teacher should only direct the shape of the seat, and the students will choose their seat partner because will affect their comfort in the class. The third point are chalkboard use. The chalkboard is one of your greatest allies. It gives students added visual input along with auditory, so take advantage of this instant visual aid by profusely using the chalkboard. At the same time, try to be neat and orderly in your chalkboard use, erasing as often as appropriate. A messy, confusing chalkboard drives students crazy. And the last point of physical environment of the classroom are equipment. It means that kelas pasti memiliki peralatan-peralatan sebagai pendukung pembelajaran, seperti saat guru ingin menayangkan video atau PPT pembelajaran, maka guru akan membutuhkan proyektor dan alat listrik lainnya untuk memudahkan penyampaian materi yang akan dijelaskan. Well, that's all for my explanation. The next material will be explained by Cecilia Fristiviona. Cecilia Fristiviona, time is yours.
Baiklah, materi selanjutnya yaitu Your Voice and Body Language. One of the first requirements of a good teaching is a good voice projection. You don't have to have a loud, booming voice, but you need to be heard by all the students in the room. Selain memperhatikan suara, Anda sebagai guru juga harus memperhatikan body language. Di antaranya, the first is let your body posture exhibit an air of confidence. Biarkan postur tubuh Anda menunjukkan suasana percaya diri. Second, your face should reflect optimism, brightness, and warmth. Wajah Anda harus mencerminkan optimisme, kecerahan, dan kehangatan. Third is use facial and hand gesture to enhance meaning of word and sentence that might otherwise be unclear. Gunakan gerakan wajah dan tangan untuk meningkatkan makna kata dan kalimat yang mungkin tidak jelas. Fourth, make frequent eye contact with all students in the class. Sering-seringlah melakukan kontak mata dengan semua siswa yang ada di dalam kelas. And the last is dress appropriately considering the expectations of your students and the culture in which you are teaching. Berpakaianlah dengan pantas, dengan mempertimbangkan harapan siswa Anda dan budaya di mana Anda mengajar. And next, unplanned teaching, midterm lesson change. You have to engage in what we will call unplanned teaching that makes demands on you that were not anticipated in your lesson plan. One of the initiation rights that new teacher go through is experiencing these unexpected events and learning how to deal with them gracefully, and the key is poise. Pada proses pembelajaran tidak selamanya berjalan sesuai rencana. Ada kalanya di mana siswa memberi pertanyaan yang Anda tidak tahu jawabannya. Juga siswa mengganggu di kelas atau ribut. Dalam situasi seperti ini, kuncinya adalah ketenangan. Anda sebagai guru harus menjaga rasa hormat dari siswa dan kepercayaan diri Anda sendiri dengan tetap tenang. Menilai situasi dengan cepat, membuat perubahan tengah dalam rencana tersebut, dan membiarkan pelajaran berlanjut.
Thank you, Cecilia. Next to the third presenter is Desti Arianti. Desti Arianti, time is yours.
Di sini saya akan menjelaskan tentang teaching under adverse circumstances. Di poin ini akan membahas sejumlah masalah tentang manajemen kelas. The first, teaching large class atau mengajar dalam kelas besar. Some problems in this point are proficiency and ability vary widely across students. Kemahiran dan kemampuan siswa yang bervariasi membuat guru sulit untuk memanajemen kelas. Selanjutnya, teacher-students attention is minimized. Karena besarnya jumlah kelas, jadi perhatian atau fokus individu, baik guru kepada siswa ataupun sebaliknya, sangat kecil. Next, students' opportunities to speak are less. Kesempatan siswa untuk berbicara terbatas, karena besarnya jumlah siswa tidak memungkinkan untuk semua siswa menyampaikan pendapat atau bertanya kepada guru. Yang terakhir, teachers' feedback on students' written or work is limited. From the problems that I have mentioned before, there are some solutions that can be offered to the teacher. The first, try to make students feel important dengan cara mengenali nama-nama siswa di kelas. Setidaknya hal ini membuat siswa merasa bahwa ia dianggap ada dan tidak diabaikan. Next, make class in pair work, kerja berpasangan, or group small, kelompok kecil. Karena kesempatan siswa untuk berbicara kepada guru limited, jadi melalui kerja berpasangan atau kelompok kecil, siswa dapat saling bertukar pikiran dan memiliki kesempatan yang sama untuk saling sharing information. Selanjutnya, don't collect written work from all of your students at the same time, because this can give the students chance to get teacher feedback fairly. Yang kedua, teaching multiple proficiency levels in the same class. Dalam poin ini, guru dihadapkan pada masalah untuk mengajar siswa pada tingkatan tinggi, namun tidak membebani siswa di tingkatan rendah, dan juga untuk siswa di tingkatan menengah tetap bisa belajar dengan optimal. for the solution that can be offered are, jangan terlalu menggeneralisasi penilaian tentang tingkat kemahiran siswa dengan mengklasifikasikan menjadi siswa yang baik dan siswa yang buruk. Selanjutnya, tawarkan pilihan pembelajaran yang bervariasi agar dapat menyesuaikan tingkat kebutuhan siswa secara individual. Yang ketiga, compromising with the institution. Masalah yang mungkin akan dihadapi dalam poin ini adalah the lesson that are focused on test rather than students' learning ability. And then to manage physical condition in the classroom are difficult by teacher. Yang keempat, disiplin. In large class atau kelas besar, there will always discipline problems. So, what points that you must know as a teacher? The first, learn to be comfortable with your position as a teacher. It means that guru harus mendapatkan rasa hormat dari siswa dan tidak disepelekan. Selanjutnya, tetapkan aturan terutama about students' behavior in the classroom, like speaking, turn taking, respect for others, group work, individual work, task taking, and etc. Jika peringatan atau teguran bentuk tindakan pendisiplinan verbal lainnya diperlukan, lakukan yang terbaik untuk menjaga kedisiplinan dan menjaga martabat Anda sebagai guru. Selanjutnya, jika Anda tidak dapat menyelesaikan masalah kedisiplinan yang berulang, sebaiknya konsultasikan dengan pihak konselor atau administrator institution. Yang terakhir, cheating. The first step to solving a problem of teaching is ask the student's own perception. Did he or she honestly believe they were doing something wrong? Alasan siswa mencontek karena adanya tekanan pribadi untuk menjadi unggul. So, the problem of cheating did by students setidaknya bisa diminimalkan dengan cara pendekatan pribadi. Okay, that's all. Back to moderator.
Okay, thank you, Desti. For the last material will be explained by Dwi Nur Pajrisya Putra. And Dwi Nur Pajrisya Putra, time is yours.
Okay, I will explain the next material, teacher's roles and style. Roles. A teacher has to play many roles. For growing comfortable and confident in playing multiple roles, 2 roles of thumb are a willing acceptance of many ways that students will perceive you and a consistent fairness to all students equally. Know yourself, your limitations, your strength, your like and dislike, and that accept the fact that you are called upon to be many things to many different people. Then, as you become more comfortable with, say, being an authority figure, be consistent in all your dealings with students. Second, teaching style. As you grow more comfortable with your teaching roles in the classroom, make sure your style of teaching is also consistent with the rest of you and with the way you feel you can be most genuine in the classroom. Then learn how to capitalize on the strengths of your teaching style. Third is cultural expectation. List on the following page are a number of cultural expectations of roles and styles as they relate to teachers and students and school, adapted from Hofstede 1986. First, teachers are expected to have all the answer. Padahal kenyataannya, teachers are allowed to say, I don't know. Selanjutnya, teachers are expected to suppress emotion. Yang padahal teachers are allowed, teacher diperbolehkan untuk express emotion. Dan juga siswa juga diperbolehkan. Teachers reward students for accuracy in problem solving. Guru memberikan reward pada siswa tentang akurasinya di pemecahan masalah. Padahal seharusnya guru memberikan rewards untuk siswa untuk pendekatan inovatif dalam penyelesaian masalah. Wherever you find yourself teaching, the both force will come into play as you attempt to be an effective teacher. Always be sensitive to the perception of others, but then do what you feel inappropriate to negotiate change in attitude. Be ready to compromise your ideal self to some extent, especially when you begin a teaching assignment. There is a little to be gained by coming into teaching posts like gangbuster and alternating all those around you and finding yourself unemployed a couple of months later. If you have confusions about what good teaching is, it pays to be patient in slowly reaching your goals. After all, you might learn something from them. Creating a positive classroom climate. The roles you play and the styles you develop will merge to give you some tools for creating a classroom climate that is positive, stimulating, and energizing. First, establish rapport. Rapport is a somewhat slippery but important concept in creating positive energy in the classroom. Rapport is the relationship or connection you establish with your students, a relationship built on trust and respect that leads to students feeling capable, competent, and creative. Second, balance praise and criticism. Part of the rapport you create is based on the delicate balance that you set between praise and criticism. Too much of either renders it less and less effective. Genuine praise, appropriately delivered, enables students to welcome criticism and to put it to use. For example, effective praise delivered without disrupting the communicative flow of ongoing interaction. There is effective praise and ineffective praise. This disrupts the communication flow of ongoing interaction. It has the differences. Third, generating energy. What is classroom energy? I like to use this term for a force that is unleashed in a classroom, perceivable only through a sixth sense, if you will, that is acquired in the experience of teaching itself. Energy is what you react to when you walk out of class period and say to yourself, "Wow, that was a great class," or "What a great group of students." Energy is the electricity of many minds caught up in a circuit of thinking and talking and writing. Energy is an aura of creativity sparked by the interaction of students. Energy drives students towards higher attainment. Students and teachers take energy with them when they leave the classroom and bring it back next day. How do you create this energy? Not necessarily by being dramatic or flamboyant, right or wise. Sometimes energy unleashed through a quiet, reserved, but focused teacher. Sometimes energy force gathered in the corporate intensity of students focus on rather mundane tasks. But you are the key, because students initially look to you for the leadership and guidance. You are the one to begin to get the creative sparks flying, and by whatever means you accomplish this, you do through solid preparation, confidence in your ability to teach, a genuinely positive belief in your students' ability to learn, and a sense of joy in doing what you do. You also do so by overly manifesting that preparation, confidence, positive belief, and joy when you walk into the classroom. Thank you.
That's all for our explanation about classroom management. Jika ada kekeliruan, mohon untuk dibenarkan. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.